Buenos dias, es la señora Bosenberg here with some direct object pronouns in Spanish notes. So, direct object pronouns, also known as, I will know them as DOP or complemento directos en español. Okay, so I'm going to ask you now, what do you think is a direct object pronoun? Without Googling or without looking in your phone, what do you think is a direct object pronoun or also known as a DOP? In a few, we will learn what a direct object pronoun is, but in our next slide, we're going to practice finding the direct object pronoun in sentences in English. Okay, so I want you to copy these 3 sentences in your notebook. And then I want you to underline your subjects, circle your verbs, and double underline your direct objects or what you think are your direct objects. At this time, you can pause the video and complete the activity in your notebook. Okay, so we're going to go over these 3 English sentences and figure out what the verb, the subject, and the direct object. Well, on our first sentence, our subject is I. Our verb, you should have circled want. And our direct object is stamp. So this stamp should have been double underlined. For our second sentence, I bought some shampoo. I is your subject, bought is your verb, and shampoo is your direct object pronoun. Okay, lastly, for our third sentence, you should have underlined we as your subject, returned is our verb, and book is our direct object pronoun. So hopefully now you should have figured out what a direct object pronoun is. In order to avoid repeating a direct object noun, we often replace it with a direct object pronoun. In English, what do you think these 2 words are? What are we going to replace the stamp, shampoo, or book with? Well, if you guess that we're going to replace them with it and them, then you are correct. The it and them are DOPs in English. But we're going to learn what what they become in Spanish. The way that DOPs work is that it has to replace your direct object noun. So I want that stamp. I is your subject. Want is your verb, and stamp is your direct object noun. But what can we replace stamp with? Our 2 options are it or them. Of course, you're going to replace stamp with I want it. Simple. Let's do number 2. We is your subject. Return should be your verb. And books is your direct object noun. What could we replace books with? Could we replace it with it, or can we replace it with them? What did we return? We returned them. So I hope you said them, okay? That's why you replace books with them. And that is your direct object pronoun. Of course, there are direct object pronouns in Spanish, and that is what we're learning today. But there are 4 direct object pronouns that you will learn today. Of course, like always, Spanish is very complicated, so we're going to go through it slowly. But first, we're going to start off with the singular direct object pronouns for it. So it is singular, them is plural. So we're going to start off with singular masculine and singular feminine. So first, singular masculine, your direct object pronoun is lo. For your singular feminine, your direct object pronoun that you're going to substitute is going to be la. We're moving on to the plurals. Your masculine plural direct object pronoun is going to be los, and your feminine plural pronoun is going to be las for them. So remember, this is it, and this is them. The way that you choose if it's masculine or feminine, it depends on the word. So we know that, for example, our direct object noun would be el bolígrafo. If we would say I have it, then el bolígrafo is masculine and singular, so you would use direct object pronoun lo. Your direct object pronoun must agree in both the number, singular or plural, and the gender of the noun that is being replaced. But where do we place these direct object pronouns? Well, there are two places that direct object pronouns can go, and they can be placed right before a conjugated verb, so before your conjugated verb, or attached to your infinitive. Once again, what is an infinitive? An infinitive is a verb of the purest form. So it is a verb that has not been conjugated, such as hablar, comer, correr. They still end in AR, ER, and IR. Okay, here is an example. If I were to say, I want that stamped, I is my subject, want is the verb, and stamp is my direct object noun. What will I replace stamp with in Spanish and in English? Is stamp it or them? Well, we have one stamp. We want one stamp. So that automatically tells you it's going to be in the it form. Now we need to figure out the word for stamp. If you set the word for stamp is el sello, now we know that it's singular and masculine. So our direct object pronoun that is singular and masculine in Spanish is what? It is lo. So we're going to replace stamp with the word lo. So I want that stamp translates to quiero ese sello. Now we know that we're going to get rid of sello and change it to lo. We know that our direct object pronouns either go before our conjugated verb, which we have our conjugated verb here. So now we need to move lo to the front of that verb. So I want it. The reason that we use lo is because sello is singular and masculine, and there are no infinitive verbs in this sentence, so we must put it in front of the conjugated verb. And we need to get rid of this ese because you don't need that. I want that. That doesn't make sense. I want that it. Doesn't make sense. Okay, so I want you to do this practice in your notebook. I need soaps, and do you have my letter? Our subject in I need soaps should be your I. Need is your verb, and soaps is your direct object noun. What would we replace soaps with in English? How can we say I need soaps a different way? Well, you should have said I need them. We know soaps is plural, so it would be them. How do we say soaps in Spanish? Soap is el jabón. It is masculine, but we know that this is plural, so we know that it's going to be plural masculine. So in Spanish, you should have had yo necesito jabones. Now we just need to get rid of jabones and substitute it with los. Move los to the front of your conjugated verb. So go ahead and do the sentence correct. You should have ended up with yo los necesito. I need them. Go ahead and do the second one on your own. Do you have my letter? Our direct object noun is letter. So in English, you should have had, do you have it? Now you need to figure out what letter is in Spanish in order to write your sentence. You should have had, tienes mi carta. Now you need to substitute carta with a direct object pronoun and move it to the front of your conjugated verb. You should have ended with la tienes. If you have la tienes as your final answer, then give yourself a high five because you are correct. Okay, so we are getting to the end of our practice. So here's our last practice of the day. I want you to write these sentences or questions in Spanish using just direct object pronouns. Okay, so for the first one, if I asked you, hey, did you buy them? And by them, I'm talking about golf clubs. How would you write this question in Spanish using your direct object pronouns lo, la, los, or las? Go ahead and write all of these in your notebook in English and then leave space to write them in Spanish on your own. I have it. By it, I am talking about the shampoo. I need it. I am talking about the ball. And she is going to eat them. I am talking about the carrots. So go ahead and pause it and go ahead and work on these using your direct object pronouns you just have learned. Okay, so for you by them, we know golf clubs is el palo del golf. Here we have them, so we know it's plural and we know it's masculine. So you should have used the direct object pronoun los. And it goes in front of your conjugated verb, which to buy is comprar. So you should have had los compras. Number 2, I have it, shampoo. Shampoo in Spanish is el shampoo. We know it's singular and we know it's masculine, so you should have had lo in front of your conjugated verb, and it should have been lo tengo. I need it. By it, I am talking about the ball. Ball in Espanol is la pelota, so it is feminine and it is singular. So in your sentence in front of your conjugated verb, you should have had la necesito. Lastly, this one could have been a little confusing because she is going to eat them. What she's going to eat is the carrot. So carrots is your direct object noun. Here, there's 2 ways that you could have done it. We know that carrots is la zanahoria. We know that she's going to eat them, so we know it's plural, and we know that it's feminine, so you should have used la. Here, you could have placed la in the 2 different places. You could have put it in front of your conjugated verb or attached to your infinitive. So the first thing that you could have done, if you attached it to the, oh, what's that going on? Okay, if you attach it to the infinitive, your infinitive is comer, so you just literally attached it because your conjugated verb is va. Or our second option was moving las to in front of your conjugated verb, and we just said va is your conjugated verb, so you just put that in the front and leave your infinitive as is. The first 2 examples we just did in practice 2, we placed a direct object pronoun before your conjugated verbs because there was no infinitive in that sentence. But in the last sentence, we placed a direct object. You could have placed it, attach it to comprar because that is your infinitive, or placed it in front of your conjugated verb, which was va. But both ways are correct. Now, you must show me your notes in order to get points for this and to get your homework. If you have any questions or are still confused, please let me know so that I can explain it better or give you more practice or more help.